So today's lesson, we're talking about taking Social Security early. And early is going to be defined as any time before 70. Um, because in a lot of our videos, in a lot of our case studies, you're going to hear us over and over and over recommending that at least one of the spouses delays the larger check to age 70. And there's a reason for that. And everybody's situation is different. And I thought it would be good today to show some couples, and the same can apply for singles. There's just situations where people need to take it before 70, and sometimes even take it before 66 and 8 months or 67. And so we got two of them as case studies, and we're just going to walk through that. And I want to bring Tom on, and I really want Tom to share with you like why we're doing this video today. What's the purpose behind this?
Yeah, I mean, so the decisions around Social Security is one of the most impactful ones that you have for your whole retirement. I mean, that's a check you're going to get for the rest of your life, and so we want to get that decision right. Everyone's decision is different based off their circumstances, so it's not a one size fits all type of recommendation. And so we do a lot of videos where we go over delaying till 70. We just want to walk through some examples where we some case studies where maybe it doesn't make sense to wait all the way till 70.
Yeah, and could you show the show notes while you're up, Tom?
Yeah, so you can find these show notes in the link below of our video. They're also on our website. The first page is just a picture of the board. Some people print it out. They can look a little closer because if you're looking on a small screen, some of these can be hard to see. The next couple pages of the show notes is an example of a Social Security statement. You don't really need to look real closely. If you're interested, you can print them out. But the highlighted areas are the stuff we're going to be talking about in the videos, just really drawing your attention to some of the key facts that are listed on the Social Security page. So if you want to look at this more closely, just go to the website, click on the link, and just print these out.
Okay, so we really have a couple of factors here. Number one is if we're going to delay Social Security, we're going to take the monthly income that the people need to live on between retirement and whenever they start Social Security, we're going to be pulling that out of their IRA money. So the size of the IRA is a factor in the decision that we make. So I'm just going over these 7 worries or 7 factors, 7 issues, 7 decisions that you need to make, 7 government programs. And anytime we're making decisions or making recommendations, it's in light typically of all 7 of these things. So the size of the IRA that people have, or it's maybe in a 401k and it's going to get rolled to an IRA or left, regardless, is the size of that is a determinant of when we're going to recommend that they take Social Security. And then the tax or the income tax that one pays on Social Security, the federal income tax, is another factor. Because if people delay, and that gives them an opportunity to get a larger check at like 70, and then it also gives them an opportunity to do Roth conversions between now and 70, which is going to drive their income up and their taxes up. But because they're not getting Social Security, they're not paying any tax on what they're not getting. And we're setting them up for a lower tax ultimate retirement past 70. So that's the logic behind a lot of our videos. And what is enabling us to recommend to Harry and Liz and Andy and Ruth is that they're not going to pay much federal tax taking their Social Security well before 70. So you put all those factors together, and we're just going to dig right in. Okay. So we're talking about Social Security today. We've talked about the size of the IRA. And in case study number 1, this is kind of a predicament because this couple has $620,000 in the IRA, and it's all in his IRA. And they have an income need for $7,000 a month. And that's not $7,000 a month gross. When we do financial planning, which that's what this is for people in retirement planning, we need a net number. Like, how much money do you need coming in every month that you can actually spend or use or do something with? And for them, it was $7,000 a month. And so the first thing we're going to look at with anybody is delaying this. She was already taken, Liz was already taking her Social Security at $1,000 a month. So that means we need another $6,000 a month out of the IRA if we're going to delay. That's $72,000 a year. This $620,000 was, somewhere close to 800 before 2022 started. So they've already lived through a reduction right in the year that they're retiring, and their income need hasn't changed. And they're moving to Florida, so they're not going to have any state income taxes, but they need $7,000 a month. And so if we start draining this IRA to the tune of $6,000 a month, because we do have a small Social Security check from Liz, this money's going to be gone by the time they start Social Security. Then we can reduce the amount. We just didn't want to put that big of a dent in that. We also determined, like we ran all the numbers with Harry starting Social Security now for $3,600 a month, or actually, now, because he's at full retirement, and then Liz still gets her $1,000 a month. That's $4,600 a month. All we needed to do is draw $2,585 a month. The reason the numbers don't work exactly, we need to draw enough out of the IRA, out of the 620 grand, to pay the federal taxes, which are pretty darn small. So that if you look at their whole situation, these people are retired, 620 grand that we want to whittle down slowly, because that's got to last a whole lifetime for somebody. Even if one of them dies in their 70s or early 80s, one of them might live into their 90s. So most of their monthly income here in the 60s is going to come from Social Security. And what little bit we're drawing it down, it's not going to dent it too bad, because we're still going to make money on what's left in there. And we're not going to pay much in federal tax. And so, this is a case study that we've just put together in a hypothetical, but it's very good.
Before we move on to number 2, I want to make a couple points on case study number 1 as well. And so Liz, in this example, she filed for her Social Security at age 62. When Harry goes to file for his benefit, his full retirement age benefit, she would be eligible to collect a spousal benefit at that point. We're having her delay her filing the spousal benefit until her full retirement age, because she'll get a little bit more by doing so. I don't want to get too far into the calculations there, but there will be a future increase from her benefit as well based off the spousal portion of Social Security.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. Is these folks generally, we get a lot of this where people come into us and the lower one didn't even know anything about spousal benefits. She wasn't working at the time, and she just said, I'm going to take my $1,000 a month at 62. And she did diminish the benefit that we could get to do our planning, but we can't do anything about that. And it's not really terrible. And there is a brighter future of an increase for her. Okay. So the next one we're going to talk about, this couple has a smaller need for monthly income. Okay. They also have a much larger IRA balance. So technically, this would be an easier problem to solve. But the difference is they are younger than these people. And it doesn't look like they're much younger, and they're not. The man here is 65 as opposed to 66 and a half. And the woman here is just 2 years younger. But those are a lot of years when you're talking Social Security in the 60s. And so, our thinking in the beginning with this example is, let's just start living off of Social Security, because they retired pretty early, and let's just get ourselves further along making withdrawals from the IRA. And we could do another video about how we position the IRA to shoot off the income. But in any case, they got their $4,700 a month just making withdrawals. And then along, Andy turned 65, and we're setting him up with Medicare, and which is another time that we're sitting and rethinking everything. And we realized, again, re-looking at it, that he is the smaller Social Security check. Ruth has a larger history, and Ruth is also 3 years younger. So because it's the younger spouse, excuse me, the older spouse, but the smaller Social Security check, we decided to recommend that Andy go ahead and take the Social Security now. And that's going to take a little bit of heat off of the IRA, although they can pretty much stand it, the heat, but it's going to take some heat off because we got now 2,200 of our 4,700 coming in from the Social Security check. But the real sweetness in the whole thing is their federal taxes by starting his Social Security early are just $643. That's almost too low. Okay. And so what that means to us is they're not taking advantage of uh, just the tax deductions that they could get. And this money is just sitting here boiling and growing, which is ultimately going to create a tax problem for them. And when she delays her Social Security all the way to 70, they're going to reach a point at 70 where they really don't need any other money other than Social Security. And so we don't want minimum distributions or RMDs on the IRA. We want to think ahead. So the way we're going to mitigate that is we're going to get into some annual Roth conversions to gradually increase their tax and get some of this money moved over to after tax money that they can draw from tax free. And then also they don't have to pay any RMDs, or they don't have to take RMDs. So I want to bring Tom back on, and I'm sure that Tom has some more points on both of these cases.
Yeah, so on case number two, and again, this is just a caution to not do this at home. I mean, there's other factors at play here. I mean, for Ruth, she's on a marketplace plan. We have to keep an eye on the subsidy for her health insurance costs. So I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. So don't take this as a recommendation, but there can be reasons to again file for Social Security earlier. For Andy and Ruth, Ruth having the larger check, we're probably going to recommend she wait all the way till 70 because it's if we're going to delay one check and start one, it's better to delay the larger check because that's the check that's going to stay around when the first spouse passes away. So again, just don't try this at home. If you have questions about your situation, call us. We'll be happy to talk with you, figure out what makes the most sense for you guys. But yeah, I mean, on case 22, I mean that just jumps off the page. $643 in federal taxes and getting 4,700 a month. I mean, I didn't even increase the IRA withdrawals because they have enough cash they could just pay that out of their savings, the 643. And so it's a much less they have to withdraw out of the IRA because if they were taking the full 4,700 out of the IRA, their taxes would be much higher. So I mean, there's just a lot of moving parts, but that's what we do is really help piece all these pieces together to get you in the best situation possible.
So what I'm getting from this, to just sit here and look at it, is most of the Social Security videos that we've done, and then most of them that I see in write-ups on Social Security, they're viewing the Social Security decision in isolation. That's for starters. They're looking at one person and saying, we're either going to take it or we're going to delay, pluses and minuses of both. We're looking at a lot of factors. I mean, first of all, these are couples. So the spouse always matters in the Social Security decision, especially from an estate plan, because the survivor of a couple is going to live on with the largest Social Security check. So that's going to enter into who does what when. The size of the IRA or the access to taxable money, and then the size also of the other savings, so that if we want to pull out some money to live and not pay taxes on, that's a factor in the Social Security decision. The amount of money these people need to live on, another factor. So to do this from a financial planning, looking back at the whole picture of people, is a real force in making this decision. So we're in all 50 states in the District of Columbia. We're licensed throughout the country. We serve people by Zoom, by telephone. Um, so, I mean, we'd be glad to sit down and look at your situation and help you out. I'm Hans Scheil,
And I'm Tom Griffith.
and I thank you for listening.
Thank you.